Hey everybody, how's it going? As you can see, I've tried to take in as much of your criticism as I could regarding my new studio backdrop here, that it doesn't have the clutter of the old store. So I've looked through all of my boxes of crap and I've tried to sprinkle as much random stuff that has nothing to do with what I do behind me as I could, so that you would feel more comfortable when watching these videos. So do enjoy the clutter. You can even see that I'm including a nail shelf that was put together when I don't know what he was on, but it must have been something good. So today I'd like to discuss something that really doesn't have much to do with repair at all. It is what I've been reading about in the news regarding economic responses to the coronavirus. And I've been reading lots of talk where there are airlines and other large businesses and other industries that have been requesting some sort of assistance package or bailout of some sort because they're not going to have as much business as coronavirus continues to spread. This is something that aggravates me. And it aggravates me because if my business happens to go under because I am paying employee wages, I'm paying a $16,000 or $17,000 a week payroll while not taking in income, what happens if I go bankrupt is that someone else is going to come by and swoop me up for pennies in the dollar, and the business will then be reorganized as a result of that. Someone else will own the company. You know, everything that I have built over the last 10 to 12 years would be available to someone else for pennies in the dollar, from my domain name, my website, my search engine ranking, my YouTube channel, which is registered to the business. All the videos on the YouTube channel, the educational material, the internal company documentation on how to train people to offer the world-class service that we do, the Yelp reviews, the Google reviews, the Facebook reviews, the internal practices, the supply chains, the suppliers that we have for all these different parts that other repair shops don't have. All that stuff would go to somebody else that is able to purchase it for pennies in the dollar. Whereby if you are a large multi-billion-dollar airline, and you miss out on business for a month, and you're less able to survive it than I am because you are leveraged up to your ass, which is your own damn fault, by the way, you get a bailout. You get a compensation package. You get money that allows you to continue existing under your existing company structure and brand name without any sort of reorganization or bankruptcy filings. And we get payroll tax credits that my own payroll company doesn't even understand how they work. I reached out to my payroll company. How much does it cover? Not sure yet. What's the upper limit? Not sure yet. Because it's funny, it just lovely language as I read these emails regarding payroll tax and what's been going on with this. They measure to provide tax credits up to a certain amount. They can't even give me a number. We get something that would dribble over the next 1 to 2 to 3 years after we go out of business. They just get the money up front. Businesses that have leveraged themselves too much. Here's a large pile of cash. Small businesses that have more money in their bank account than debt, like your neighborhood repair shop with the sheep logo. They get shit. The problem here is that it's very difficult to make moral or ethical arguments regarding economic systems, one being better than another, one being more moral than another, when you have different rules that apply to different types of companies. I don't think that a pure socialist system would work. But it's really, really hard to make the moral or ethical argument that one economic system works and that one is good and one is bad, when the people making the argument that that system is bad are the people that are enjoying the fruits of it for themselves. It's difficult to make the argument that a certain economic system is good and another is bad when I don't get a bailout, but you do. When the local pet shop or the burrito place doesn't get a bailout, but the airline does. I see the underlying economic issue is that so many of those too big to fail companies are leveraged to hell and back to the point where they legitimately cannot survive a month or so of not getting business. And that's not my fault. But the problem is that when you tell the burrito place, when you tell the pet store, when you tell the deli, when you tell the repair shop, you get a payroll tax credit that'll be repayable over the next 2 to 3 years. But I won't last that. Oh, we don't care about that. And then you tell the airline, here, we're considering giving you you're saying you need a bag of cash. Here's your bag of cash. that it's going to screw with the moral and ethical foundations of society, because it's incredibly socially corrosive when you have different sets of rules that apply to different sets of people. When you have different sets of rules that apply to different sets of people, people tend to not care about the rules as much anymore. And that's not good for anybody. This brings me back to 2012. Probably because I forgot to eat my breakfast this morning. I forget if it was Hurricane Irene or Hurricane Sandy. There's a hurricane in 2012. Forget which one it was, because one was 2011, one was 2012. And I remember getting this, thinking, I'm a real business now. I got a store. I'm at 186 First Avenue. I have real, I'm going to build a proper store. This is not going to be Lewis sitting at the Herald Square Park anymore, doing repairs, plugging his soldering iron into the extension cord they forgot to get rid of or turn the power off to from when they did the concerts in the park. And I'm going to fix people's stuff right there. When it rains, I'm going to run into the packs nearby and hope they don't notice when I plug in all my testing stuff. This is a real business, and it deserves, proper insurances to cover everything. The Hartford sold me this business loss of income, business interruption insurance policy. And the way that insurance policy works is if for any reason you're interrupted from being able to make revenue for something that's outside of your control, they will pay you a certain amount of what you would have expected to make over that time period based on your prior quarter's receipts, your prior quarter's sales figures. So I figured this is going to be real easy. I signed up for that policy earlier in 2012. So I figured this is great. I signed up for a real insurance policy. I did the adult thing to do. I'm going to be set. You know what they told me when I called in to file my claim? They said, oh yeah, just straight up genius barred me. Sorry, the warranty doesn't cover liquid damage and there's corrosion. No, they said that there was, we don't cover flooding. And I said, well, that's great because my store didn't get a speck of water in it. I have camera footage from the last week and a half. We had nice cameras in the store. There's not a single drop of water anywhere in this store. No flooding. So I'm going to get my payout, right? I paid all my premiums. Nope. Because, you don't understand. It was flood damage. Well, no, it wasn't. I just had no electricity. I had no electricity because there was a hurricane. As a result of having no electricity, I couldn't do work on electronics. There was no flooding in the store. No, you don't understand, Lewis. The reason that you had no electricity is because the Con Ed power plant blew up. The Con Ed power plant blew up because they got flooded. Therefore, the reason your business was interrupted was a flood, and you didn't have flood insurance. You had business interruption loss of income insurance. You fucking kidding me? You fucking kidding me? It's stuff like that that is incredibly socially corrosive. Different rules applying to different people. Do you think a small business where someone is waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, showing up at 8 a.m., leaving at 10 or 11 o'clock at night because they can't afford the staff of 11 or 14 people that I have now working there, is going to have time or the money to sue the insurance company? Of course not. I did what any normal person does. I stopped paying the premiums on my policy, I canceled it, and I said, fuck it, you win, Hartford, this round. But that kind of stuff is incredibly, incredibly corrosive. If it's going to be posited that the way that there's going to be an economic recovery after some sort of recession as a result of the virus comes through is that, well, those businesses that go out of business, new businesses will get started, someone else will buy those businesses up and they'll get restarted with different corporate structures, even if the owners are just workers now and probably working for some venture capitalist-like person that's really just there to, sell the company for pieces for profit. If that's okay for the small repair shop, if that's okay for the pet shop, if that's okay for the burrito place, if that's okay for the deli, why is it not okay for the airline? Why is it not okay for the other big businesses, for the other big industries? If it's okay for us, why shouldn't I simply give myself my own little personalized bailout package of not paying off my business credit card debt? What's keeping me from starting Rossman Repair Group Inc. version 2, having all the income go to that company, all the debt to the old business, and then just go, bye-bye. I could use that money to have more security as a business. Give myself a raise. Give some people here a bonus. Maybe finally take a vacation and get rid of some of these bags under my eyes. it would be against the rules. But why should I obey the rules if you don't have to? That's the type of thinking that you don't want to inspire in the minds of over 300 million people that live here. That would be considered stealing or morally and ethically wrong. People stop caring about what is moral or ethical in a society when their state sponsors immoral, unethical behavior that benefits one class at the expense of another. Be very careful with your words and your requests. Regulators, be very careful in what it is you hand out and how you hand that out to different classes and groups of people and businesses. You're probably not going to listen to me. Human greed rarely does. But I think it's something worth thinking about if you don't want society to corrode socially even more than it has since 2008. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.